Hi guys, welcome to the first video I'm making on my channel, and it's going to be about solar eclipse effects for all signs of the zodiac. And this solar eclipse is happening on the 17th of February in the sign of Aquarius. So let me give you some keywords and some ideas on what it can bring to all people regardless of the sign. So this eclipse is about some sudden, drastic, unexpected, eruptive revolution kind of change. It's also about breaking free from some situation, getting freedom. It can literally mean someone breaking free from, I don't know, perhaps a jail. It can also mean eruptions like of volcanoes and maybe earthquakes, and I would even predict that there might be an earthquake around that time. It is about discovering your, not just discovering, but coming to your true self, your individuality. And even if that takes you being different. So these are the main keywords for this eclipse. And also I should mention that it will affect communities, teams, and friendships for probably all people, but especially Aries. There could be some other sign, but especially Aries. So I'll move on to all the 12 zodiac signs, but I want to mention that I want you to check your rising sign the most, even if that's the only sign you check, because I believe that sun and moon signs don't really hold that much power in terms of these kinds of predictions, because they are house based, like they're based on houses. So I strongly suggest you checking your rising sign predictions. So let's move on to Aries. Hi Aries, so this eclipse is going to be in your 11th house, and second house will play a big role in that. So basically speaking, you can expect some change regarding a friend or friends, or some community you're part of, or maybe a team. It can be even a team at work. It can be a sports team, or I mean any kind of community. And there's a very big influence going towards your finances. So the positive outcome of this eclipse, potential positive outcome, is that there's someone that helps you to become more financially independent, more unique, and I mean more unique with the way you get the gains. And it can be that perhaps taking part in the community will give you gains. And also it can mean that you're either breaking free from some community that was not understanding your value, and perhaps even putting obstacle to your gains, or you're joining a community that not gives obstacle to your gains, but maybe increases the gains. So these would be a few very possible manifestations. There's also possibility that you are manifesting some long-term very big goal that you had, and again it's related to your finances, so you can assume it's work related as well. So let's move on to Taurus. Hi Taurus, so this eclipse is going to be particularly powerful for you, because not only it's affecting one of the most important houses, the 10th house, but also Uranus, which is in your sign, is aspecting this eclipse very strongly. So the effects of this eclipse should be very positive because it's happening in our 10th house of career, and obviously you can expect some huge change in your career, in whatever you do. Maybe you decide to change your job completely, maybe you want to switch to something that gives you more freedom, and this is exactly what this eclipse is going to be about for you. It's about coming to your true self, being free and doing exactly what you want and being independent, because since this eclipse is very freeing, and this is probably the main keyword for this eclipse, you can expect breaking free from the old situation which was holding you back from progressing, and now you can progress finally. And whatever this change is, it will change your identity, because it's about probably starting fresh. I don't think you're staying in the same job. Not all Taurus will experience that, but if this eclipse really affects your chart and happens in some sensitive points, you can expect a complete change, like a complete change of your career. For other Taurus, it can be something minor, maybe moving to another department that gives you more space, time to be who you are, to express yourself. So these are manifestations that you can expect, but for sure you're not going to be the same person that you were before this eclipse, because there's a lot that you can do, there's a lot of potential, there's much more that you can offer for perhaps for some sort of community, because 10th house being in Aquarius is definitely some perhaps a bit social work, like kind of social work, although that's also Pisces, but yeah, it's just that you can give so much to people with this eclipse, and it should be very powerful for your identity as well. So let's move on to Gemini. Hi Gemini, so this eclipse is very much about the travel, because the eclipse is happening in the travel house, and also Uranus is aspecting from the kind of travel or maybe long distance, faraway place house, because there's an eclipse and Uranus in a square aspect joining those two houses. The good side of this manifestation could be that you receive some kind of news from a faraway place regarding your education. So maybe you're receiving the opportunity to finally go for that education abroad. Another manifestation is that perhaps you are joining some kind of religious community that's basically bringing you some sort of awakenings, because Uranus is about awakenings. So you can benefit from retreats, especially long distance retreats, some kind of traveling retreats. Not as much retreats that are done in some classes in your town, but more like, I mean, it can be as long as it's very spiritual and maybe even religious. So it's very much favorable to do long distance retreats. Apart from that, you might get a lot of signs now, like numbers, like angel numbers, or maybe premonitions, maybe during sleep, because certainly, I mean, Uranus is like connecting to higher self or the universe and receiving some information. Maybe you will even, I mean, not many people, but maybe you will even find out some kind of truth or some kind of genius idea, especially in your dreams, but also can be some kind of vision. So it's kind of a psychic time for you, even if Gemini is not that, you know, sign about psychics, but it's certainly pretty magical, this particular eclipse, because ninth house is divination and connecting to God in a way, which is more like 12th house, but since they're connected, it's a pretty spiritual time for you. And again, like I said, education. Also, there's one more thing. Maybe you didn't have a visa to travel somewhere. Maybe you wanted to move somewhere. You might get a confirmation. Maybe like a door opens for you to travel, to move to a long distance, faraway country. So, let's move to Cancer. Hi Cancer, so this eclipse is affecting your 8th house and 11th house. And what you can expect is changes around your shared resources, perhaps with a partner, but especially with a friend. If you have some joint property with your friend, maybe you live in the same house, you can expect some changes because maybe one of you wants to break free, or maybe you want to break free, and then you have some maybe doubts how to handle it, because now you need to take action, but there's dependence maybe of some kind. Obviously it can be related to your partner, and maybe a friend comes along and stirs up the things between you and your partner. Maybe, I mean, this is like a bad kind of scenario, doesn't have to manifest, but maybe your partner suspects that you do something with your friend. Yeah, there can be a little bit of jealousy, but ultimately this eclipse is about a breakthrough, so it doesn't show some like some emotion like lingering jealousy or like some problem that is chronic. It is a very huge and powerful influence that will cause a huge and drastic change. So you can, for example, maybe move in with a friend, and that way you have to share your resources. Other than these shared resources matters, there's also possibility that you're joining a community that has something to do with occult, esoterics, maybe astrology, maybe tarot, maybe, I don't know, even magic. Or maybe you decide to start some kind of forum or group regarding those topics, as well as insurance topics. Obviously there are people that are interested in finances and insurance, not just occult. So it's kind of an intense eclipse for you, so I certainly hope that things manifest in a positive way. But seems like it's going to shake up quite a lot of things. And there's one more thing I needed to mention, that you may get inheritance from a friend. Not all of you, but it's possible. So yes, I guess that will be all. Let's move to Leo. Hi Leos. So this eclipse is very powerful because it's exactly opposite Aquarius, where the eclipse is happening. And obviously this will affect your love area the most, and as well career a little bit, or public image. So you can expect very huge changes with your partner, and especially if it relates to your career. Some maybe work romance is possible, or maybe meeting a partner through your work, and especially if that person is above you in your at your work, maybe like a manager or a boss. Things like these can happen, and you may also face a decision between love and work, because these two areas come in a little bit of tension. So it means that something that's happening with your love life doesn't feel entirely comfortable with your career. So that's why I mentioned work romance, because that usually doesn't feel very comfortable. Yes, so I mean, there can be things like engagements or even marriages, because eclipses bring very powerful events. It's not just something you know, that happens like every month or something like that. It's a very powerful event. So a lot of Leos can expect, like I said, engagements, or maybe starting a new and a very significant relationship. And there's also a possibility that you will decide to make the relationship public, or maybe your relationship will become public unexpectedly, or maybe because of some friend that maybe shares it to people. Again, just because there's a little bit of tension, but it doesn't have to be negative, obviously. So yeah, it's a very powerful eclipse, and I feel like it's still positive, because a lot of people focus on love the most. Maybe that's their priority, and for Leos it feels like there's a big breakthrough in that area. And since also Leos are very much love oriented, so yeah, let's move on to Virgo. Hi Virgos, so this eclipse is affecting your 6th house and 9th house. And I guess you will feel very comfortable with this eclipse, because it's the 6th house, and that's, I mean, it represents the matters related to Virgo. So this eclipse is affecting your routine, health, and work. And I think that a lot of Virgos will experience a change in routine and having to do things a different way. And the younger Virgos may experience this change because of higher education, maybe having to study. Or, I mean, even older Virgos may study something and have to change their routine because of that. Some people may experience a change with their work because of some sort of foreign opportunity, maybe. And maybe also some Virgos will feel more independence and more freedom, because they might need to travel for work, which again changes their routine a little bit. And there's also a possibility that there's going to be some sort of foreign influence, and maybe a foreigner that causes some changes to your work, to your tasks, to your, I mean, whatever you need to do in your job. Or maybe your tasks are related to foreign matters suddenly, because this eclipse is very sudden. So the whatever happens is it's not something you thought about and you were hoping for and you knew about it. It should be happened very unexpectedly. There's one more manifestation which could be related to health. And so some Virgos might discover either, I mean, I don't want to say it, but maybe discover a disease or a treatment. And this can have something to do with foreign lands. You know, there are some people that go to foreign countries to seek treatment. So this is kind of that kind of manifestation, potential manifestation. So yeah, I guess it's a pretty exciting eclipse, because it's going to affect you on a mental level, because Virgos focus on their routines so much, and you could say because of how this eclipse falls, how it falls in your chart, it shows that you will perceive it in a very big way. So even if it happens in Aquarius and maybe would affect Aquarius, also Taurus the most, it feels like mentally you will really feel its effects, because it's something totally new for you. So routines are changing, you know, maybe job is changing, maybe you're finding a new job, maybe you do different tasks, which I already mentioned anyways. So yes, that will be all for Virgo. Let's move on to Libra. Hi Libras, so seems like you have a very exciting solar eclipse, because it's going to happen in your 5th house, and the Uranus is going to aspect your solar eclipse from the 8th house. So guess what that means? That means children. Obviously not for all of you, but if you're looking to get pregnant, that's when you're getting it. And if you don't want to get pregnant, looks like you have to take extra precautions, or like extra protection for that not to happen, because Uranus in the 8th house can mean some sudden unexpected like news or findings in regards to your sexual kind of affairs, and it's a good time to be more cautious, basically. But since the eclipse is still happening in the 5th house, and 5th house is considered I believe 2nd most successful, or I mean positive, I should say, successful as well, but positive house, or 1st or 2nd the most positive house. Whatever comes from it, you're still going to be happy in the end. So I mean, there's nothing that could go wrong ultimately. And there's one more thing. You might decide to implement some changes in your intimate life, and it can also mean being polyamorous because of Uranus influence. So, or actually it can also mean, because there's some tension between the eclipse and the Uranus, you might find out something about your partner. It doesn't have to happen to all Libras, obviously, but there's just a little bit of risk in regards to that. Apart from all the dating and love, this is a particularly positive time for creative Libras, because due to some emotional influence, you might be able to express yourself through creative means, and it might feel more intense, and thus more enjoyable. I mean, some people don't like the dramatic kind of intensity, but it's a truly creative time basically for Libras. So yes, I guess that will be all, and let's move on to Scorpio. Hi Scorpios, so this eclipse is affecting your probably two most important areas of life, which is home, family, and also love, relationships, marriage. And looks like you're going to make a huge change in regards to your home, maybe moving out entirely, maybe redecorating, refurbishing, maybe selling a home. And it can have something to do with your partner. And there are two possible scenarios. Either you move in or redecorate or you refurbish or sell a house because there's some positive influence from your partner, or I mean, I was about to say, or you're moving away from your partner and now because of that you're getting your freedom and doing all those changes, but that's also a positive influence. Even if it feels painful in the beginning, it's still a positive influence. Ultimately, this eclipse is about coming to your true self and experiencing the freedom that you deserve, which you didn't have before, because this eclipse is, like I said in the very beginning, is about breaking chains that were keeping you from advancing. So in any way, even if you move in with your partner, that means you are escaping the situation that was pretty challenging before and was not letting you advance. And now that you have a partner and can do those changes regarding to your home and family, you are finally feeling much better and like you're advancing in life. So that's about it. And yeah, let's move on to Sagittarius. Hi Sagittarius, so it seems like you have a pretty cognitively intense eclipse, because this eclipse is going to affect your mind and also your work. So what you can expect is some changes in regards to your ideas, communication, maybe even a car, transportation, and maybe even school or courses. And it is somehow related to your work and routine. So the way I see it, you might have some new beginnings regarding your especially your tasks at work, if they require reading, writing, or analyzing any kind of information, because you are supposed to feel a sudden change, but also a freeing change, because you're supposed to have more freedom, especially in your work tasks, or maybe even in your routine, or maybe because of having some kind of freedom and maybe freelancing, you need to change your kind of cognitive task, which is about reading, writing, processing information, and things like that. And as well, I would say that a lot of Sagittarius would take some new courses that can help to advance them in their career, to kind of improve their skills. Skills is one of the most important keyword here for you. So some sort of new skill, I guess. And maybe some Sagittarius will also have get a driving license, and also maybe they will sign up for driving courses, because there's something regarding transportation as well. So yeah, thanks for watching. Let's move on to... Hi Capricorn, so seems like you have a pretty important eclipse because it's happening in your financial area. And since you tend to be career oriented, this can mean a big change. So what you can expect is a new financial resource. It can be a new job, obviously. It can be perhaps starting freelancing, or especially it can be starting freelancing if you're doing some creative job, because this eclipse is receiving an aspect from Uranus from the 5th house. So this shows independent expression, and because of that you are generating some maybe additional income, or maybe you're just changing your job a little bit, even if you're not working for yourself. If you're working in a 9-to-5 job, if you're doing the 9-to-5 job, maybe you decide to venture on your own, do some part-time job that you yourself came up with. It's not like another part-time job, 9-to-5, or not 9-to-5, like I don't know, 1-to-5 job. Anyways, so yeah, this is one kind of manifestation, creative expression that brings more independence with your finances, freelancing especially. There's another way it can manifest. Maybe you have children and maybe they want to be more independent. Maybe they want to seek some new I don't know, skills, or maybe hobbies, maybe some kind of classes. And now you have to invest in that. So there's a little bit of tension between those two areas. And because of that, you can feel like, oh, my child is needing this new thing and I am not quite ready, but now I have to do it. Obviously, eclipses bring very big and drastic changes, so it won't be just like a basic new, class or course of some sort. It's going to be something bigger. So yeah, that's about it. Let's move on to Aquarius. Hi Aquarius, so the eclipse is happening in your sign and obviously you will be impacted the most. So depending on which point or planet, or I should say luminary, you're watching this particular segment on, will depend what will be affected. So I should say, if you're watching for your sun sign, maybe your career will be impacted, maybe your health will be impacted, or actually any other life area. For sun, it's very broad. It's very broad. If you're watching for moon, then obviously your domestic matters, your home environment, your parents, perhaps mother, relationship with her. And if you're watching for your ascendant, then that's a pretty big eclipse, because this means that any life area can get impacted. Especially because this means that you're experiencing a new beginning. So also you can expect some changes in regards to your looks and maybe identity in a general sense. So there's one more thing here that needs to be mentioned. Uranus is aspecting this eclipse super strongly from the 4th house. So this means that family is making influence on this new beginning. And it can mean that perhaps your family encourages you to be more free, or maybe because of them you need to get that freedom. Like maybe the situation with your family is too stressful, maybe too, like they're holding you back, and you need to break free from that. So there's like family plays such a huge role here, and whatever you do after this eclipse has a big influence of your family. There's one more thing I actually came up with when I was thinking about this eclipse. So because there's a lot of weirdness and a lot of feeling of yeah, just weirdness, being unusual and being eccentric and being different. And since there's identity and family, I just thought a lot of Aquarius ascendants will come out if they are not, you know, straight, because there's this identity freedom, or maybe you want to be a part of some group who are going for that specific cause, and now you experience some maybe tensions with the family, maybe they don't quite accept you or things like that, or you find comfort in some sort of community because of your family. So all those manifestations can happen, and ultimately it is a new beginning. That's what it is about mostly. And I can mention that the road to it is not going to be clear. There's going to be a lot of uncertainty, a lot of doubts, a lot of maybe even anxiety. But ultimately, this step is the rightest for you, because of this eclipse you are meant to progress, because this eclipse is about advancement, evolution, and progress. So yeah, I guess that's all. Let's move on to the last sign, Pisces. Hi Pisces, so this eclipse is happening in your 12th house, and there's Uranus aspecting the eclipse from the 3rd house. So not only you are very much like the 12th house matters, you again have the emphasis on the 12th house matters. So this eclipse is very positive for the spiritual people, because it looks like you will get some, let's say, mini awakenings or some realizations, maybe some premonitions, maybe increased intuition, maybe some kind of sudden realization in regards to I mean, in regards to anything, but it can happen through dreams, psychic kind of intuition or vision or things like that. And there's also the 3rd house influence, so you can kind of manifest that energy through creative writing, or maybe some kind of poetry, or maybe automatic writing, which is actually a form of you know, psychic kind of reading. Yeah, so yeah, that's one way it can manifest. Another way is that you might receive some news from a very faraway place, maybe faraway country, like a foreign country, some kind of like maybe you have some family members very far abroad and you didn't hear from them for like 5 or 10 years, and suddenly you receive this email. So things like that can manifest. And also there can be some unclear things regarding your neighbors. or maybe some community in your neighborhood, or maybe like neighbor community. Could be some unclear or shady things happening with that. And also it is particularly favorable to join some kind of spiritual community, because you will get the information that you really need, because there's some kind of learning or finding out something, like almost like a genius idea that you might receive while being in that spiritual community, that part of this like even like a Facebook group. I mean, it can be even something as simple as that. Maybe you get recommended, maybe someone recommends you some psychic in a Facebook group, or maybe you are a psychic and you get recommended to someone. So these would be the manifestations for the eclipse, and thank you for watching. If by any chance you made it to the last segment of the video, thank you for watching. And I am also giving astrology readings, and you can find the link to my website where you will see the reading options, and you'll find the link down below in the description under this video. So again, thank you for watching, and see you next time.